Good morning, everyone. This is David from Blue's Videos and Collectibles. Today's video is going to be a little different. A few months ago, there was a video that I watched from a good friend of mine, and fellow YouTuber Blu-Ray Outlaw, and he did a video called "Why I Collect Action Figures," and it was a challenge that went around YouTube amongst the toy collecting community, and so I figured over the weekend, I just thought I would go ahead and do one, and I had to rewatch his video to get an idea of what it was because I kind of forgot what the challenge was. And basically, all it is just basically letting the toy collecting community know why you got into collecting. Well, growing up as a kid, basically, in the early 80s, late 90s, we had Ninja Turtles, He-Man, Thundercats, and things like that, Transformers, and those were like all the good 80s toys. And in the 90s, I had played with stuff like Terminator 2 from Kenner. Let's see what else. Aliens, Predator, all the weird, bulky toys that came out from Kenner, like, inspired by these movies that came out in the uh, late 80s and early 90s. And also things that I had played with was Hasbro WWF figures and Dino Riders that came out in the 80s and whatnot. So, anyways, one day my mom came up to me and asked me, hey, we're going down to Mexico this year. It's probably like around, I want to say, mid 90s, late 90s, or whatnot. And she had asked me if there was anything that I wanted to give away because they wanted to donate toys to the orphanage that they go every year back then around Christmas time, to for kids in need that didn't have anything. So I was like, sure. So I ended up gathering up everything that I owned toy wise, and I decided to give them away except for one item. And she was like, "You sure you want to do this?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so I said, "Look, I could always get this, later on. And these kids needed more than I do." So that's what happened. I ended up giving away all my stuff to the kids that in need in Mexico. But anyways, another thing is when I started getting back into it, probably around, I want to say 2000, I had bought, a few items to start my collection up again. Because, at the time I was working, I was making my own money, and that's what I wanted to do is get back into toy collecting. Well, apparently that only lasted about a year or so, and started getting into stuff I shouldn't have, or buying things I shouldn't have, like most typical young adults in their early 20s, partying and whatnot, and spending on money you weren't supposed to. So I did that for a while, and kind of stopped for years and years and years until about a couple of years ago. Uh, I was able to start get back into it, and I got into it really hardcore. I mean, like big time, and so I was able to start collecting things that I didn't have or that I had missed out growing up as a kid and whatnot. And one of the things that really brought back childhood memories that I was able to collect was actually, let me rewind that. Uh, my favorite toy that I had growing up was the Imperial 1985 Godzilla figure. And anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge Godzilla fan. And that was like the only toy that really kept me out of a lot of trouble. And when I got that, that was probably the main thing that I played with all the time. You know, screw He-Man, didn't care about Thundercats, didn't care about anything else but that Godzilla figure. And when we moved, uh, one of the dogs that we had adopted got a hold of it and just chewed it all the hell. It was missing its arms, half its tail, and whatnot, and I was devastated. And that was the only toy that really made me happy at the time growing up. And I was probably about 7 or 8 years old when all this happened. So, anyways, I told myself that I was going to get one back eventually. So, all these years later, until last year, I was able to find one. This is the 1985 Imperial 13-inch Godzilla. This was given to me because a former coworker of mine uh, that I used to work with said, "Look, I got something you might be interested in. Yeah, you can have it. It's yours if you want it." I was like, "Okay." So she brought it up and said, "Hey, you want it?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want this." So I was able to get back the piece that I had when I was 7 or 8 years old to finally be in my collection, and this is my treasure right here. Everything that I own, this one's the one that I would probably keep and get rid of everything else if I had a choice to do that. So this is the only piece that I would rather keep out of everything that I had. That's how important and special this was to me. So um, over time, I was able to, through a couple of friends of mine that I grew up with since fourth grade, I was able to accumulate some things that they didn't want or that they traded amongst themselves, because these two guys that I grew up with in elementary school until now, I still talk to on a regular basis. Um, they did trading. We did trading when we was all growing up, the three of us. And so these two friends of mine, Tommy and Darrell, to this day, we still do deals with each other. And this few weeks ago, I was able to accumulate a lot of stuff for free, or from my friend Tommy. That he inboxed me and said, "Hey, look, I got all this stuff you might be interested in. I don't want it anymore. I know that you would take good care of it, so um, I'll probably do a video on it later on sometime, let you see what I got and whatnot." But anyways, I was able to get back a few items that I used to have, excuse me, that I used to have. Like, I was able to get a He-Man. I was able to get back a Terminator figure. Now, I have a lot of these, that on card, not loose, but on card. And this one, not this one, but this was like the first Terminator I got as a kid for Christmas, along with the car. And I'm looking out for a car as well. And and then there's a few items up there, as you can tell, see, with all the Thundercats and He-Man figures. Those were items that I was able to get from him. And also, my friend Darrell, he's a seller on eBay, and he does a lot of deals and stuff. And him and I do a lot of trades. And earlier, when I was mentioning when I gave away all those toys I originally owned to the orphanage in Mexico, except for one item, this item that I always will always keep too as well, besides my Godzilla figure that I just showed. And I got this for my 13th birthday. He was able to get this for me, and to this day I still have it, and it's got a little shelf wear on it, but it's the Kenner Alien vs. Predator 2-pack, and I will always treasure that one forever as well too. So so that's the only thing that I had that held over that I originally had as a kid. So, because that's how important that piece is to me. And I made a promise I would never get rid of it, and I still have it to this day. And anyways, along the other stuff that he had was able to trade for me and stuff, and because like I said, we do a lot of deals amongst each other and stuff, so I was able to get a super shredder that I had at one time, and a Rowdy Piper WWE Hasbro, and I got more of these too, and I'll probably do a separate video on these as well. A lot more of these. This one was probably my favorite WWE Hasbro figure. I got a lot of memories with this. I remember when this isn't the original one as well either, so this was one that he had picked up, and he said I could have, amongst other things. Um, got a lot of memories with this guy. This is one that I used to play with a lot, and I carried this around with me all the time too. And I had been about 10 or 11 or whatnot. And some other items that I used to play with is Dino Riders. I was able to get some of these back. I picked these up at a shop called Movie Trading Company. I bought this sometime last year, I think. And I had a bunch of these. And this was one of my favorite ones that I had as well. Now this is just, it's not complete or not, so I'm always looking to find parts and stuff, and to be able to complete these. So I have a few other of these as well, but this is one I wanted to show, is that one that I had originally as well. I used to have the Cerolophus and the Pteranodon and the Quetzalcoatlus and whatnot. I never had none of the big ones, but I always had all the little ones. Excuse me. But anyways, yeah, that's my little story as to why I got into collecting. And so I just basically do it because it's a hobby and because it brings back good childhood memories of mine. And it's just it keeps me out of trouble, and just it's stuff that that I have fond memories of, and stuff that I'm trying to accumulate back that I had given away at the time for a good cause. So yeah. So in concluding of this video, I would like to issue a challenge. That challenge to all you other fellow collectors that watch my videos, and entitled it "Why I Got Into Action Figures." And so, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank y'all for watching. So if you please like and subscribe, and I will leave excuse me, my Blu-ray Outlaw videos in the links description below. He does a lot of movie hauls and action figure hauls and stuff, and he does really good videos, and I encourage y'all to check him out and give him a sub, and thank y'all for watching.